Hello my dear students. In the previous lesson في الدرس اللي فات اتعلمنا how to find the difference between various types of graphs وكمان اتعلمنا ازاي نحدد الداتا that can be represented on a line plot وكمان بقينا قادرين ان احنا to explain نشرح why data might include fractions and analyze a line plot using the data with fractions. Today in lesson 3 breaking the bar هنتعلم النهارده how to draw and analyze a bar graph that contains data with fractions. whether الداتا دي هعملها في single bar graph أو في double bar graph. تعالوا أول حاجة نروح نشوف access part on page 123 in your school book. Let's see it all together. And here in the access part check error analysis and use the error analysis model عشان نساعد our student اللي استخدم اللاين plot عشان to answer the question. How many students jumped 3/5 of a meter or more? الانسر بتاعه ان كان فيه one student only. طب ايه رأيكم في الانسر دي؟ وايه الحاجة اللي هو عملها فعلا صح وايه الحاجة اللي هو عملها غلط؟ وعايزاكم تقولوا لي ال correct answer to this problem. I'll give you now some time to think and answer and we will discuss the answers all together when we are back. طيب أنا متأكدة إن أنتوا كلكم لاحظتوا إن ال students only focused ركز بس على ال point represent student who jumped 3/5 of a meter. يعني هو قال إن فعلاً في one student jumped 3/5 of a meter. He found one point only عشان كده افتكر إن الانسر بس one student. Okay؟ تعالوا نكتب first column of the error analysis model. Okay. Let's write here the student correctly identified هو فعلا حدد ان one student jumped 3/5 يبقى he identified that one student jumps 3/5. This is he. Okay, طيب he didn't add on the 3 other students jumped more than 3/5 of a meter زي ما كان مطلوب مننا. تعالوا لما نرجع كده هنلاقي ان فعلا one student jumped 3/5 بس لسه في كمان 3 jumps more than 3/5 فكان لازم يعمل add لل 3 ال jumps more than 3/5. تعالوا نكتب كده في السكند column in the student didn't add the 3 students who jumped more than 3/5. He didn't add the 3 students اللي هما they jumped more than 3/5. طيب ايه ال correct answer؟ الكوريكت انسر ان الستودنت كان لازم يعمل بلس للنمبرز اوف ستودنت اللي هم جامب اكتر من 3 and 5 للستودنت اللي هو جامب 3 and 5. اوكي سو I will write one student اللي هو not 3/5 plus the 3 students اللي not to more than 3/5 so the answer will be 4 students. Now we will go to build part on page 124. Here's build part as you see and let's check together the activity rolling which tells us how Omar and Malik made an experiment. الاتنين عملوا experiment with some of their friends وكمان عملوا recording للresults بتاعهم. Let's get to know the experiment they did with Miss دعاء, the science teacher.
Welcome my dear primary 4 students. I know that you are now watching one of the math lessons with Miss Sarah. However, we got used in connecting what we learn in different subjects and making use of what we study in science while learning math or for example using different literacy skills while studying science. That's why I'm here today to help you use some of the concepts we have learned together to solve this math problem. We know that Omar and Malik had a hands-on investigation to determine the distance that a football would travel when its mass is 10 kilograms. If 6 of their friends rolled it, they measured the distance to the nearest quarter of a meter. They were excited to know which one of their friends would move the ball for the longest possible distance. And this is the data they recorded. What do you think they observed? For sure, we observed that the friends of Omar and Malik were able to move the ball for a longer distance in the second time. لو بصينا على التيبل هنلاقي إن المسافة في تاني مرة بقت أكبر. كل الأرقام زادت. Even though they were the same people who pushed the ball in the two investigations. I mean that they applied the same force on the ball. So what is the reason that Rana was able to move the first ball 3.75 meters and the second time she moved the ball 1.25 meters? Surely, we all observed the difference in the mass of the ball. Do you remember when we learned in the unit 2, energy and motion, that the greater the mass of an object, the greater the force we will need to move this object? بمعنى إن كل ما الأوبجكت كان heavy هيحتاج energy أكتر عشان نحركه. I mean, the greater the mass of an object, the greater the energy that we need to move this object for the same distance. Now, I have one more question for you to think of. There is a table in front of you that shows us the distances the ball has traveled. My question is, what is the value that we need to know to determine the speed of the ball? إيه الحاجة اللي لو عرفناها هنقدر نحسب سرعة الكورة؟
And now, thank you, Ms. دعاء, so much on your participation with us. وكمان على questions اللي احنا سألناها دي helped us to learn how what the subjects are connected together. Ms. دعاء عرفتنا ان ازاي subjects كلها connected together ومرتبطة ببعض. الماث are very related to the science subject. In the shown table, we are required مطلوب مننا to create a bar graph that shows the given data. الداتا اللي عندنا دي هنعملها في table. عايزاكم كلكم تحضروا البوكس بتاعتكم والبنسلز وتعالوا نبدأ drawing this together on the board. طيب let's go بقى to the grid paper اللي هنستخدمها in drawing and start writing all the elements اللي احنا هنحتاجها في البار graph. We will start with the titles. Let's name the horizontal axis student. طيب أول هنرسم ال horizontal axis بتاعنا like this. Okay. Here is the horizontal axis like you see. طيب والتايتل بتاعنا students. Okay. Now then write the names on it in order. هبتدي من left to right. محدش ينسى that we need to leave equal spaces between every two names. لازم ال spaces تبقى equal لبعض. For example, I will leave here 2 squares. Okay, like this. And then I will start to write the first name. The first name is Rana, so I will write here Rana. Okay, then we will leave another squares. So I will start here. I will write the second name, which is Salah. Okay, and then the third name, which is Tahani. I write it here. Okay, and then leave the same squares. Okay, I'll leave the same space. Then the next one I will write Ziad. So I will write here Ziad. Okay, and then finally I will write Farouk and Walid. So I will write here Farouk and here Walid. So after we write the names, now I will go to the vertical axis and let's name it in meters. vertical axis بتاعي اللي هو هرسمه هنا like this. Okay, والتايتل بتاعي meters. So I will write here meters. يبقى this is the horizontal one and this is the vertical one. Now we want to fill in the measurement scale. مطلوب مني بقى أعمل السكيل بتاعي which represents the distance. طيب فاكرين what to write first? Yes, I think or I am sure that you can solve this. Exactly, that's it. We have to start with 0. طبعا لازم أبدأ بإيه؟ لازم أبدأ بالزيرو. Then what about the next number? Right, you need to increase the number by quarter every time. طب إيش معنى quarter؟ عشان عمر ومالك والrecording سجلوا ال distance to the nearest quarter of a meter. يبقى همشي أو moving by quarter. So I will start with 0 بعدين quarter 2/4 which is equivalent to half and so on. Then quarter 1/4 2/4 3/4 4/4 اللي هي 1 then 1 and quarter 1 and half or 2/4 1 and 3/4 then 2 and then 2 and quarter 2 and 2/4 2 and 3/4 then 3 3 and quarter and the last one 3 and half as you see here. Okay, طب هو احنا المفروض نكمل لغاية فين؟ ال greatest number we have is 2 and half. Sorry, 3 and half. Okay? طيب مين ال next whole number اللي 2 and half؟ Yes, 3. طيب على فكرة let's draw the first bar that represents runner's distance. Okay. تعالوا نرسم ال first bar that represents runner's distance. Who rolled the ball for 3/4 of a meter. 3/4 يبقى أروح هنا عن 3/4 and I will draw the bar here. Okay, then I will draw the second bar of Salah distance. It will be in front of 1 and a half. I will go 1 and a half اللي هو 1 and 2/4 and I will draw the bar here. Okay, what about the third one? The third bar of Tahani is front of 1 and 1/4. 1 and 1/4. So I will draw this bar here, like you see. And then what should I do? I will go to the fourth one, which is Ziyad distance in front of 2 and 1/4. I will go to 2 and 1/4 here and I will draw this bar like you see. Okay, then what should I do? And now, before I write Farouk and Walid, I'll give you now some time to draw the last two bars on your own. We will check the bars together when we are back to make sure your answer is correct. And now let's draw the last two bars together. I will draw a bar represents Farouk distance. He was able to roll the ball for 1 and 3/4. 1 and 3/4 here. So I will go to Farouk and draw this bar like you see here. Okay. And finally the last bar of Walid distance. He is in front of 2 and a half meters. I will go to 2 and a half يعني 2 and 2/4 and draw Walid's bar like this. Like you see here. Okay, and after drawing all the bars مطلوب مننا to write 2 questions about the bar graph اللي احنا عملناه مع بعض. Then answer them. ايه الquestions اللي ممكن نكتبها؟ ممكن نكتب for example who recorded the longest distance أو نكتب who recorded the shortest distance. وكمان ممكن نكتب what is the difference between the longest distance and the shortest distance in the bar graph. You too, you can think about 2 questions and write them in your school book. تعالوا بقى دلوقتي نكمل عمر ومالك's experiment in rolling part 2. زي ما احنا عارفين من ميس دعاء ان عمر ومالك قرروا ان هما to see how far the same student could roll 8 kilogram ball. And then هيعملوا compare between the new data that they collect to the data of the 10 kilogram ball. هيعملوا comparing between these two rolling balls. Then added another column to record the new data. طيب how could we draw the bars؟ هنرسم البارز ازاي to show this data؟ فكروا كده about it. Exactly as عمر ومالك have added a new column to show the new data. مش هما زودوا column عشان يكتبوا النيو data في التيبل. هنعمل بالظبط زي ما عملوا. I will add another bar for each student in the same bar graph. So we will have 2 bars to show the distance recorded by each student. We call this A. لما يكون عندي 2 bars يعني double bar graph. Do you know why we choose this double bar graph? I think about it. عايزاكم تفكروا ليه استخدمنا الدبل بار جراف. استخدمناه because the 2 data sets show the distance recorded by the students in both roles. يعني بقارن ما بين 2 sets أو حاجتين related to each other. ده معناه إن الداتا is related and can be compared more easily by using a double bar graph because the 2 bars next to each other. هنلاقي 2 bars next to each other. We can say that whenever the data related يبقى الدبل بار جراف هو أنسب method to use it. Now make sure to have 2 bars with different styles. لازم ال 2 bars اللي جنب بعض يبقى عندهم different styles. For example ممكن أعمل one shaded وأسيب التاني without shading، أو ممكن أعمل different colors زي ما هعمل في ال 2 bars اللي أنا برسمهم. هيبقى one blue and the other one red. Different color عشان أفرق between the 2 bars. Okay? Now we should add a key to explain us or anyone عشان أي حد يبص على الجراف يفهم من الكي بتاعي ويفهم إيه الكولرز اللي أنا بلون بيها دي ومعناها إيه. It would be like the keys of the maps زي بالظبط الكي اللي بنستخدمها في الماب في السوشيال ستاديز في الدراسات الاجتماعية اللي بنستخدمها مفتاح الخريطة عشان يفهمنا الخريطة دي بتتكلم عن إيه. تعالوا كده let's start drawing Rana's double bar. Okay, now I will use another color اللي هو red. Now before making this الكي بتاعي عندي الريد بار وعندي البلو بار. طيب الريد بار بيمثل لي ايه؟ يس بيمثل لي اللي هي 8 كيلو جرامز بول. Okay, while the blue bar it represents the 10 kilogram ball. And this is my key. اللي بيفهمني الكالرز دي عبارة عن ايه. طيب تعالوا نرسم بقى رانا's double bar. Rana recorded 1 1/4 meter. 1 1/4. So I will go here and I will draw another bar here. In red عشان أفرق ما بين ال 2 bars. Okay? Draw another bar next to her first bar until you reach 1 1/4 meter زي ما أنا عملت بالظبط. Okay, now draw صلاح double bar. It is at 2 meters. يبقى I will go to صلاح, then I will end at 2 meters وهرسم الدبل bar here like this and shade it in red. And now what about Tahani's double bar? Here's Tahani. Yes, she recorded 2 meters بالظبط زي صلاح. يبقى I will go here at 2 meters and I will draw the second bar here for Tahani. And then what about Ziyad's double bar? It is at 3.5. يبقى I will go to 3.5 وهرسم Ziyad's bar. 3.5 and draw Ziyad's bar like you see here. Okay, then what should I do? Yes, I will complete Farouk and Walid, but before doing this, I will leave you some time to do the last 2 bars by yourself. طيب تعالوا دلوقتي نرسم الدبل بار فور فاروق. He rolled the ball for 2.5 meters. هروح عند 2.5 اللي هي 2 and 2 over 4 وهرسم ال second bar like you see here. Okay, then finally I will draw the double bar for Walid. It is 3 and 1/4. 3 and 1/4. So I will go here up till 3 and 1/4 and draw the second bar like you see here. Now after drawing the double bar graph, مطلوب مننا to answer the questions related to the graph. The first question is asking us to add this new data to our graph from part 1. And that's what we have already done. دي الحاجة اللي احنا فعلا عملناها. طيب question 2 كان مطلوب مني we need to know which student rolled the 8 kilogram ball half a meter farther أبعد than they rolled 10 kilogram ball. If you check Rana's bar graph, تعالوا كده نشوف Rana's bar graph, you will find in the difference between the two recorded distance or bars is half a meter. This one quarter وquarter half, يبقى difference between them is half a meter. The same goes for Salah. The difference of the two bars, quarter وquarter, is also half a meter. Question number 3, محتاجين نعرف the student who had the biggest difference, أكبر difference between the 10 kilogram ball roll and their 8 kilogram ball roll. لو لاحظنا الجراف you will find out that look زياد there is a huge difference between the two bars. في difference كبيرة قوي between the two bars. لو حسبنا الديفرنس ده هنلاقي ان الديفرنس is 1 and 1/4 meters. It's very big. After drawing the graph and answering the questions about Omar and Malik's experiment, تعالوا بقى دلوقتي نروح لconnect part on page 127 and start with writing about math. تعالوا نشوفوا كده مع بعض. And here in the connect part, as you see, here writing about math. تقول لنا ان احنا محتاجين to use double bar graph to compare two related sets of data. We need to read the titles of the graphs and think about the data we could collect for each one. وبعدين هنعمل circle على titles that could be double bar graphs وهنعمل record the categories that we might use. أنا هختار one of the titles and leave the rest to you. Think about whether we can use double bars or not. And of course this would depend, ده هيعتمد على الداتا اللي احنا جمعناها. For example, here we can record the maximum and the minimum temperature decrease in different cities. Okay? You can collect this by watching the weather forecast. In this case, we need to use, هنحتاج نستخدم إيه؟ Double bar graph because we are comparing temperatures in different cities, maximum and minimum temperature. Now you can scan the QR code shown here or at the one you have on the first page of this lesson. You will be directed to the practice part and check your understanding in the digital copy of your math textbook on the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. We have a practice problem about our friends. Let's see it all together. Okay, and here in the practice part, as we see, Kamal, who planted the two kinds of plants and started to notice the lengths of these plants as they grow and recorded the data in the table in front of us, like we see here, okay? He also created a double bar graph, like you see, for the first 3 days. Here are the first 3 days. مطلوب مننا to draw the bars that show day 4. When Kamal recorded the data, he wrote it to the nearest 1/5 of a centimeter. Okay, so let's draw the bars together. The length of the first bar is 6 and 1/5. 6 and 1/5. طيب, look here, we don't have this on the scale. But if we notice, لو لاحظنا the first bar on day 3, which is Friday, here is day 3, you will see that what? Yes, if you notice, the first bar on day 3, you will see that you will find that it is 6 centimeter. The bar shows 6, لكن 6 it is not written in the scale measurement. So let's write it down on the measurement scale at the point that shows the end of the bar. يبقى هنروح كده عند ال end of the bar وهكتب هنا number 6. Okay? Then now we need to increase 1/5 of a centimeter the same way Kamal did at the beginning of this graph. Don't forget that if we have a space left, لو عندنا space في ال measurement scale بتاعنا لازم نفضل مكملين counting لغاية لما أوصل لل next whole number اللي هو 7. But here I don't have any space يبقى هقف عند 6 and 1/5. يبقى آخر حاجة هكتبها 6 and 1/5. Why? Because I don't have any space here. Okay? Now let's draw the first bar until we reach 6 and 1/5. يبقى أول بار هرسمه here 6 and 1/5. I will go here 6 and 1/5 and this is the first bar like you see here. Okay? Now what about the second bar? The second bar I will go until 5 as you can see. يبقى هقف عند 5 and this is my second bar. Okay, now after you finish drawing, let's answer the following questions about the graph. عندي question number 1 بيسألني إيه؟ بيسألني how many centimeters has plant 1 grown from the first Monday to the second Monday? Okay, from the first Monday to the second Monday. To answer this, let's check the graph all together. On the first Monday, the plant was 5 centimeter. Here's first Monday, it was 5 centimeter. On the second Monday, it was 6 and 1/5, right? Okay, so here's the second Monday, 6 and 1/5. يبقى هنعمل subtraction the whole number 6 minus the whole number 5, so the distance is 1, right? 6 minus 5, the distance is 1. Then we will write 1/5 as it is. يبقى الديستنس بتاعتي كلها 1 and 1/5. So the total difference like I said. Now you can see, you can solve the rest of the questions by your own. Now I want you to scan the code in front of you, which will get you to the form. You need to choose our favorite food from the 5 different types. What do you think we will do with the data we will collect? We will get to know that in our next lesson. Now we have finished this lesson's objective. خلصنا الهدف بتاع اللسن النهارده. In this lesson تعلمنا how to draw and analyze a single bar graph or a double bar graph using data with fractions. See you soon in another lesson about the bar graphs. Thank you so much for your watching and goodbye.